Okay, the weigh-in just ended. Danny Jacobs is looking pretty, Chris Algerian and nutrition. Those cod fillets and those that avocado jam. Danny Jacobs is looking pretty. He looks dry. Don't get me wrong, but he's looking in good shape. Let's listen to what he has to say. I didn't know they were going to talk.
For the city of New York, we're going to represent. We're going to show them why we're the best in the world. Enough said.
Last time we saw Gennady, he got hit pretty early on, like Cal Brook. 2 fights ago, we saw you come out like a freight train against Peter Quillen. Are we going to see some early fireworks?
You're going to see whatever it takes to win. I'm a true champion. I adjust. I make sure I do. My preparation was right. I'm making sure I do what I got to do to get the victory. Point blank, period.
A lot of people say they have the plan to beat Triple G and then they get in the ring and it doesn't work. Why is it going to be different for you?
I'm a man. I believe in myself and I'm not those other guys. I'm different. I'm a different commodity. I'm a different champion. My mindset is different. My skill level is different. You're going to see that Saturday night.
You have come into this fight with an incredible amount of confidence, almost serenity. Where does that confidence come from?
My belief system in myself. Nobody needs to believe in me but me. I can have all the moves in the world, but I believe in me. My skills are going to pay the bills come Saturday night. You're going to see it.
There he is, Daniel, the Miracle Man Jacobs.
Waiting for Golovkin to talk.
And here is the consensus best middleweight in the world, Gennady, Triple G, Golovkin. Gennady, you've said that you think Danny Jacobs is the most dangerous opponent for you. Why is he so dangerous?
Yeah, of course, he's my dangerous opponent and best opponent because, every step is bigger. Every step is bigger. And first of all, thank you very much, my friends. My friends, thank you for your support. Thank you, guys.
There have been times in some of your fights where you've taken it easy. You've allowed your opponents to hit you for a round or two. I'm guessing you're not going to do that against Danny Jacobs.
Every fight is different. Right now, Daniel, he's champion. Right now, unification fight. It's unbelievable.
It's been 6 months since you were last in the ring. You'd like to be more active. What are we going to see from you when you do get in the ring?
This boxing business right now, just everybody understands my situation. Everybody understands this fight. It's an amazing fight for us.
This is your 5th time, I think, at Madison Square Garden. It's your 2nd home. Are we going to see big drama show on Saturday night?
Hopefully, I hope this big drama show, not just for my fight, any fights. Any fights is coming out for big drama show. This is a big drama event.
There he is, Gennady, Triple G, Golovkin.
Okay, Danny Jacobs looked a little dry, but for the most part, he made weight. That's all that matters. Shout out to Chris Algier. He weighed in at 159.8. Golovkin has weighed in 159.6. Of course, if you don't know, this is a unification, or what I like to call a consolidation unification fight, because you have Danny Jacobs, who's the WBA World Champion, right? And then you have Golovkin, who's the WBA Super World Champion. The Super World Champion really has no mandatories unless the WBA orders so. So the WBA has been saying for the last year and a half now that they're going to be getting rid of, or they want to get rid of that secondary title, or one of those titles, to just have one WBA title in each division. They've been saying that shit, but then guess what? You have guys like Lamont Peterson fighting David Evernessians for the WBA World again. You have Vladimir Klitschko and Anthony Joshua fighting for the WBA Super World. How? I don't even know. And then Shannon Briggs versus Franzo Quindo fighting for the WBA World. I can go on and on and on. But the good thing is, after this, there's not supposed to be any more WBA titles at 160 pounds. We're going to hold him to it. So Golovkin is the WBC champion because Canelo gave him the belt. He's the IBF champion after beating David Lemieux. He's the WBA Super World champion after he was elevated after beating Daniel Gill, if I'm correct. And now he's fighting Danny Jacobs to unify those titles, or to consolidate those two WBA titles. I'm T Street Controversy. This is T Street Controversy Live. I cover every single major fight live. Listen. Smart money says Golovkin, which is why I'm going with Golovkin. It's hard to pick Danny Jacobs because Danny Jacobs has been knocked out cold, even though it was nearly 7 years ago. July the 31st of 2010 against Dimitri Pirog. And then that flash knockdown against Sergio Mora, in which I watched with a lot of my supporters and friends on Facebook. We did a film study when he was flash knocked down by Sergio Mora in their first fight before Sergio Mora broke his ankle. And he was still unsteady on his legs when he got up. Go look at the fight. He was unsteady on his legs when he got up after being flash knocked down by a light punching Sergio Mora. We have to take that into account. However, Danny Jacobs is the most skilled in his prime middleweight, in my personal opinion, that Golovkin has fought. Golovkin, in my opinion, Danny Jacobs, in my opinion, is better than Martin Murray. Danny Jacobs is better than Curtis Stevens. Danny Jacobs is better than Willie Monroe. Danny Jacobs, depending on, how the saying goes, the different styles of the different fights. Some people say that David Lemieux versus Danny Jacobs is a 50-50 fight, or that David Lemieux might have the edge. But in my personal opinion, overall boxing skill, Danny Jacobs is a better fighter. But how is he going to react to when Golovkin hits him? Because Golovkin is going to hit him. There's so many questions I have. I want to know what type of fight Danny Jacobs is going to fight. Is he going to try to outbox Golovkin, or is he going to try to bully Golovkin? One thing we do know is he has to be aware of Golovkin's jab, which is very stiff, and he's very good with it. But also, what about Danny Jacobs' jab? Is he going to use a jab? Is he going to try to box Golovkin? Is he going to do a lot of movement? We've seen that Golovkin has had skill cutting off the ring against lesser competition. Can he cut off the ring against better competition in Danny Jacobs? But one thing about Danny Jacobs, we never see him normally fighting on the back foot. He fought on the back foot against Dimitri Pirog, though. So, like I said, there are questions, and I just want that if Golovkin wins this fight, for him to get respect for beating a champion who has won 12 straight fights, 10 straight fights after beating one of the biggest battles of life and cancer. So I don't want to hear that if Danny Jacobs loses, that, oh, well, Danny Jacobs always been a bum. Or then people going to start talking out their ass to myself. Well, Golovkin, how did he knock Jacobs out so clean? He must be on something, or his gloves is little, or they loaded the gloves. I'm not trying to hear that shit. Give that man his respect. The same thing with Danny Jacobs. If Danny Jacobs pulls an upset, which it will be a big upset, if Danny Jacobs wins, he's going to fuck up a lot of money. So if Danny Jacobs does win, I don't want to hear, well, Golovkin was always overrated. Give Danny Jacobs a shot. If you don't know, rumor has it is that Billy Joe Saunders is going to be there, and that they're supposed to announce if Golovkin wins, Golovkin. See, I'm jinxing it already. Golovkin versus Saunders for June. I was supposed to go to the weigh-in, but I actually had a cold, and I said, man, I'm not going out there. The weigh-in was too early. Right now it's 9:24 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The weigh-in started at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Right now it's March the 17th, and it started at 6 a.m. if he was over on the West Coast. So it was an early ass weigh-in. I didn't feel like having to. But anyway, one of the questions I would have wanted to ask Tom Loeffler, the promoter of Golovkin. By the way, shout out to him for sharing my article on his Twitter. I want to ask him, kind of trick him up a little bit and say, well, how many times will Golovkin be fighting this year if he wins against Danny Jacobs? Well, if he was to say 2 more times, or 3 more times, then I would assume, or 2 more times, then I would assume, okay, well, then he's going to be fighting in June and then in September. So fighting Billy Joe Saunders in June, and then Canelo in September if it happens. But that whole Canelo situation is just. And another thing, let me point this out. I know we can't look past Danny Jacobs, but I must say that I'm starting to really feel that that Golovkin should, if the offer is $15 million, take that $15 million if that's the offer to fight Canelo. My personal opinion. Do you really feel that Canelo versus Golovkin is a $1.5 million pay-per-view fight? I think it's like $1 million or barely does $1 million. But that's a whole nother video. So, of course, I'm going to be here covering this fight. As you know, tonight, like I said, it's 9:30 a.m. here, March the 17th. As you know, we have some fights tonight. PBC on bout, Amir Mansour versus Travis Kaufman. That's going to be a good fight. This PBC on bout. Also on Top Rank TV, you're going to have the Mike Conlon fight. So we got some good cards coming up. And then tomorrow, obviously, this card. But in T Street Controversy, this is T Street Controversy Live. I cover every single major fight live. I remember I used to cover these weigh-ins like every week. We're going to get back to that. And some of them, truth be told, I kind of do want to do a live stream for this. So For the people watching this video on the day of the weigh-in, we might do a live stream wrap up, final predictions on Golovkin versus Jacobs, maybe tonight. We'll have to see how that works out. But anyway, please subscribe. I'm back doing shorter videos. The goal is to get at least three videos out a day, unless it's like fight day. Then of course, depending on how many fights that I'm going to be covering, of course, that can upwards to about 10 to 15 videos. It all depends in one day. It all depends. We got a podcast launching. We're going to wait until May to get that out of the way. I have a lot of reconstruction going on around here. A lot of shit that's got to get done. Also, the website is active. We're crawling before we walk, but the good thing is it's active. We're pumping out new, innovative, content. Basically, what I want from my website is not just for it to be just a regular boxing news website. I want you to be able to get everything you need from that website. So for example, when you click on names, on the website, you'll notice that it leads to that box record. We have weigh-ins, we have past fight highlights, and et cetera, et cetera. And as time goes on, we're going to get better and better. So if you're interested in helping out in any way, shape, or form, please email me at editor@fightview360.com. That's EDITOR at fightview360.com. Also, visit fightview360.com right down below. We are launching merchandise. The merchandise is already, thank God I got help, because I couldn't do it myself. So, I got help. The merchandise is on the way. As soon as we get like a nice confirmed date, we're going to be pushing that shit hard. Obviously, I'm not in my Fight View 360 stuff right now. It's because it's in the wash. But the point is, going forward in the future, we're going to have fitted caps. We're going to everything from Fight View 360 mugs, everything. So, Rome wasn't built in a day, as they say. Even God, he didn't get earth done in a day and all life and all that. So, please subscribe. All the links to my social media right down below in the description box. If you actually want to see the full weigh-in, go to fightview360.com, and then, of course, you'll see where it'll say live stream weigh-in. T Street Controversy Live.